For those who don't know, just introduce yourself and what you do.
I'm Richard Whitehead, Paralympic gold medalist, motivational speaker, but more importantly, a good person.
Where were you born?
So I was born in the late 70s, 1976, in Nottingham, England, in a small village called Loudon, and I was brought up in a community that wasn't very diverse, and for me that had lots of challenges and obstacles.
So yeah, we'll definitely dive into that. We have quite a large American audience as well.
Yeah.
How would you describe?
Robin Hood. Yeah. That's it. Let's go for it.
That is
it is, yeah. It's like, oh, you're from Nottingham. That's it. Robin Hood.
What is it like growing up there? Yeah, as if you were describing to an American guy without the Robin Hood.
Nottingham is quite a diverse city and lots of different areas. I was a young person with a disability that did feel quite segregated growing up. It's important when you grow up that you have people that you aspire to be like and you want to achieve your goals without a ceiling, and Nottingham gives you that inspiration and aspiration, but I've had to work really hard for what I've got. I've never been given a silver spoon, and I feel that everything I've earned in my life I've achieved.
So in your childhood then, you say looking for a role model or something like that, so it was a village?
Yeah, a little village, yeah.
Was that not something that was present then?
No. When I was growing up, especially when I was younger, my mum and dad were from a working class background, and as role models, they were present at all kinds of opportunities regarding integration of me into local clubs. My village wasn't very diverse, like I've said, and so had big problems at primary school. Lots of obstacles and challenges in the way to access the curriculum. There wasn't an inclusion spectrum at all, so it created lots of problems with my development, not only as a sportsman, but also as an individual person and trying to find my own identity. Then as I then progressed through the challenges that I had in primary school, I went to a secondary school, Colonel Frank Seeley in Calverton, where the headmaster was very much, you've got to get on with life and work really hard to achieve your goals. And that's what I needed. I needed to be not just seen as a number, but seen as a person. And everybody has a gift in life, and I think that's where my talent as a person and as an athlete started to be enriched by the opportunity and platform that they gave me at secondary school.
Amazing. So again, something we're definitely going to jump into. Just so we've got context, specifically, so make sure I get this. So you were born with a double through knee congenital amputation. Explain that. I mean, yeah.
People with disabilities have their impairments through different circumstances, and that can be through an accident, whether that's a road traffic accident or whether that's in service, or through an illness such as cancer. But I was born with my disability. So though some people say I've not had the challenges and obstacles of those individuals that have lost their legs due to an accident or illness, but I've had to overcome those stereotypes all through my life, and those obstacles and challenges have been present from birth.
Is there a particular moment you can remember growing up, like where you was like realised the effects of that, or realised, you know, there's obstacles I have to overcome in life as a young person? Was there a moment at all that sticks out? Or?
As all young people grow up in life, they're affected by their surroundings and environment, and I was lucky enough that I had lots of friends that accepted me to who I was, and maybe there were some adaptations that my friends and family made when I was growing up. But I think as you put yourself into those uncomfortable positions in life, that's when you realise that everybody has their own challenges, and everybody's going to be affected by some kind of disability or ability in their life. And for me, it was probably getting my running legs later in life that I realised that sport was a great platform for me for success, and that was later on. But all the challenges and obstacles that I've overcome in my life up to that point gave me the toolkit that I needed to access the skills that I need to communicate with my audience. And my audience are people, not just with people with disabilities, those individuals in life that are affected by mental or physical well-being, as well as those that maybe have those challenges that they have to overcome every day in their lives.
What were the lessons learned from early childhood then, in terms of mindset and having a positive outlook, by the sounds of it, like, and turning it into sort of the athletic career and everything?
When growing up, I look at the challenges that I've had, and it's really important not only just to have a positive mindset, because anybody can say you need to be positive. It's more about having those kind of tools and those life experiences and memories that you can pull back on. I'm not saying that every experience that I've had within life has been positive. I'm not saying that I've not had challenges to overcome or people's opinions to change. I've always stayed true to my own core values, and those are around resilience, hard work, trust, honesty, and leaving a lasting legacy for those that need that support and guidance. As I grew up, I was originally not really motivated by the education system, because I felt the education system didn't really encourage me to be the best person I could be in life and have no ceiling to my success. But I felt sport and the power of sport gave me that opportunity to shine. And my education was sport. And through sport, I've met so many empowering people that have enriched my life. But I think it's really important still to reflect on some of those really tough moments and then relate to people that are going through those hard times at the moment.
What early days getting into sport, was there a moment, like, was it getting your running blades, or was there a point where you was like, wow, this is for me, this is amazing?
Even down to when I first learned to swim when I was 4 years old, kind of. Obviously, when I was growing up, you've seen my prosthetics that I wear now, and my running blades that obviously I used in the gym earlier. And the prosthetics when I was growing up were made of tin and very heavy and cumbersome. To then jump in a swimming pool and just be swimming around like my fellow classmates and friends, or going in the gymnasium and doing gymnastics was really important to me. I was a member of a gymnastics club in Nottingham called Daco Flying Angels, and they gave me the confidence as well to say, look, in life you need to have certain skills, and those skills you can take on into later life, and that's being balance, agility and coordination. And those are things that I still have to work on to this day to be a better person, to be a better athlete.
And just specific to the head teacher telling you to sort of, it's going to be...
Wanker.
What was that? Was there a good relationship there? Was it a turning point for yourself? In life
you've got to have those kind of challenging conversations with people. And I know my parents had those challenging conversations with the headmaster at my junior school. And he saw me as somebody that needed a lot of support and guidance through education, where my parents saw the power of sport to break down some of those social barriers, and especially to try and educate the area of the community that had never seen people with disabilities before. My parents were definitely key to who I am today and the opportunities that I've had. I definitely didn't have a good relationship with my first headmaster, but he's set me up for the rest of my life about being quite tough, being resilient, being somebody that's determined to do well. And my headmaster, Mr. Scott at Colonel Thankyou, I think he taught me about acceptance and that everybody in life deserves an opportunity, and it's about taking that. You still need to be the driver in your life, and I definitely had to be that in secondary school going on to employment later on in life.
Were there any moments, specifically speaking up to the kind of this point, like we're talking about secondary school, where you just thought, why me? Like, you know, like low moments, like was there anything like that, or did you always just sort of see the silver lining kind of thing?
No, like say I think your friends are a smokescreen to kind of reality sometimes, and you don't see yourself as somebody that's got a disability until you face those opinions and those obstacles where society starts putting you in boxes. And we live in a society nowadays that is all about equality and diversity and inclusion, where back 30 years ago there wasn't that at all. It was about putting people into boxes and stereotypes. And that was really tough. It was really tough to find the same kind of opportunities as my friends, whether that's within sport, whether that's within employment, but also to get the respect of your peers. Within sport, I've still got a disability when I finish that sporting activity. So I live with my disability, where my friends would go home as an able-bodied person and not have the same challenges that I had. And I think between my early teens going to like 19, 20, it was a tough time in my life that I was not sure where I fitted in society, and really struggled to find any kind of direction apart from obviously in sport.
I think this is from the website, about your parent support. So living life without limits was something that they promoted and pushed for you. Yeah.
Everybody in life needs to have role models and mentors. And in my early life, especially going through primary school, my mum and dad saw that my disability would be a problem in society, and sport has that opportunity to bridge some of those communication barriers, and there were real innovators within the sporting community setting up like disability swimming groups and pushing me to swim nationally, internationally, and always looked at the Paralympic movement as something to aspire to. I then, obviously, as you grow into being a teenager, your dreams and aspirations change, and that's when I was really struggling to find some kind of direction. I think my parents always wanted me to be successful in sport. If you ask my parents how far they thought I'd go in sport, they might have not said about my Paralympic success and everything else off the track. But when I meet people with disabilities, I always say, like, dream big. And life without limits is really important, not just for a person with a disability, but for everybody.
Marathon, was that the first thing you got into?
No, so I swam when I was like 4 up to I was 21. I did gymnastics. They gave me the real skills that I needed moving forwards. I always wanted to be a marathon runner. After seeing the Terry Fox story, a Canadian athlete that tried to run from east to west of Canada. Like I say, I've never had a role model that I could relate to. It's really important in society when we talk about role models and people that we aspire to, that it's not about self-gratification, it's not about money, it's not about followers, it's not about wealth, it's about who you are and enriching you and the people around you. And I definitely looked for a role model and somebody that I could relate to some of the challenges and obstacles I have in my life. And when I first saw Terry Fox and then obviously read his book, I related to him because he lost his leg due to sarcoma and then tried to run from east to west of Canada to raise $1 Canadian for everybody that he spoke to or he touched. And that showed me that sport's not about those medals or or those prizes that you get from sport. It's about how you have an impact on sport moving forwards. And seeing that, had that kind of light bulb moment, I need to do something like this. I need to do a big challenge. I need to be able to run. Obviously, I was a double leg amputee that didn't have any running legs, was never able to run when I was younger. How do I do that? It's a big challenge, but when the time's right, you step up to the plate. So it's like cometh the hour, cometh the man.
The first run that you did
In New York, yeah.
Yeah, the New York.
So I'd worked in America in 1998 on the Camp America scheme. I was a camp counsellor and then worked as a waterfront director. And again, when you put yourself into those uncomfortable situations where you're not really sure about what the outcomes look like, but also you kind of challenge yourself in different scenarios around being accepted as a person with a disability. Also, learning new skills and not just challenging other people, but challenging yourself. I went over there, I realised that the American market is very open to people with disabilities and also the challenges they have to overcome. And I wanted to go back and run a race or do a challenge that started my journey. And so in 2004, I went back to America and ran the New York City Marathon. I'd never run a 5K, 10K, half marathon. I'd obviously done training, but I felt that was a great platform to expose myself to sport at a different level. I'd done that for charity, but also one of my closest friends, Simon Mellows, had just contracted secondary sarcoma at the time. So to do it for him and to show him that anything's possible and also that I was with him on his journey, even though it was tough for him having a young family, and then unfortunately him dying in 2005. It's about not just doing things for yourself, but for people that are less fortunate than themselves. And I would still say everything that I've done in my life, one of the biggest achievements that I've ever had. One, taking the risk and opportunity to go to New York and run that race, not knowing the consequences of running 26 miles, not understanding the effort that it takes to run 26 miles, but also the responsibility that I had for my friend as well. And he's still with me today, and all the challenges that I have in my life, I still feel that he's like my guardian angel that really provides me with the hope and guidance when I'm making those key decisions within my life.
Yeah, it's interesting on the website, like how much of an emphasis he has on everything. I think there was a piece you did, I can't remember which company it was, but there was a piece that was specifically based around Simon. Yeah. How would you describe him as a person?
Yeah, so I played cricket with Simon Mellows for a local cricket team, as well as for England development team, and like Simon Mellows, 6'7", like massive guy, massive talent, but just still a really warm character. And we got to know each other, became really close friends. And what I took away from our relationship, it was more about like his family, his warmness towards people, and about everyday matters, especially when he was going through his treatment. And we had, after I came back from New York, we had a moment where he said, look, the next marathon that you run, I'd like to do it on like a handbike or in a wheelchair, do it with you. Unfortunately, he died in 2005, and again, leaving a family behind, it showed me that like every opportunity that I'm going to make, I'm going to immerse myself in that and commit myself to 100% to those that are less fortunate than myself, because he had the character an aspiration to be the best person he could and to make use of every second of time that he had left on the planet. And yeah, it had a massive effect on me. And yeah, every decision I make now, he's in that box on that shoulder that then opens up and kind of questions the reason why I'm doing things, but also encourages me in the right ways. And when I have those dark moments in my life, I just reflect on the time that Simon was having those last couple of days. And I know it was really tough for him and his family. And I don't think we realised that today could be our last. And those kind of conversations that you want to have with your parents and your friends, make use of that time, because that might be the last time you talk to them.
It's so true. It's not something that a lot of people, I think, have experience with in life until you come into the end of your life, kind of.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it's powerful, and yeah, to be touched by people in your life sometimes doesn't always happen, or it happens in those different environments. Where mine happened through sport, and me and Simon knew each other over probably about a 3-4 year period. But I came to really understand more about what it's like to have a disability. He was an able-bodied person that lost his leg initially and then developed secondary sarcoma. And to kind of get another story from somebody else, a very strong human being that has an impact on me. Yeah, probably at that point I could have gone in a different direction, and he definitely changed my life for the better.
We were just talking about before out here about like what the definition of success is, and I think at the moment it's about followers, it's about how many views you get in,
it's bollocks really.
Yeah, it is, and then we're just talking now about like how you affect other people's lives. Like, how did you have to make a switch for yourself to go, right, it's all about how much impact I can have on other people?
Impact is measured in lots of different ways, isn't it? And we talk openly about the power of your influence and being an influencer and what that looks like. An influencer 30 years ago was your parents, or was your friends, or was people close by you. Now an influencer is somebody that you maybe never meet, or they try and promote a product on social media. For me, if other people see me as a person that can influence people in the disability community or in that diversity community, then I want to make that positive impact through positive messaging, empowering and liberating other people to take on their own journey and not be judged by the number of followers they have, the number of likes they have, the number of gold medals they have, but more about their core values and the opportunities they give other people, and also the memories they make for themselves and their families to be better. Better people make better athletes. Better people have positive impacts on their communities. Lots of people have asked me about my legacy and how I want to be remembered. I don't want to be remembered as a gold medalist or somebody that's got a gold letterbox or a doctorate from Nottingham University or all these kind of lifetime achievement awards I've got. Hopefully people see that I'm personable and that I give my time to other people. And if I'm able to affect one person in that positive way, then I feel I've done my job. My parents don't really understand what I do. My parents sometimes think that I train for an hour, 2 hours a day, and then maybe do some emails. But I try to give back what they gave me, and that was hope, which is important. Everybody needs hope in life, right?
Definitely, man. Yeah. So I love that, and that's one of the bases here is about inspiring change.
Yeah.
And I love what your parents did with you. They've inspired you to pass it on. and you're taking that baton in a massive way as well. I mean, just on that, like, how important is it to sort of spread, I don't know, positivity possibly through action, you know, like what you're doing, the decision to go, I'm guessing you could do 100 sponsorship campaigns, earn a load of money, and you'd be, you know.
And I've done that. I've been ruthless in sport. I was world champion, Paralympic gold medalist for 10 years. I look back at some of my interviews in that period, and maybe I was selfish in that period, but that was because I had to be at that time to be as successful as I have been. But is that where the powerful work that I've done over the years has been? Definitely not. I look at a lot of the opportunities that I've had to engage with people all over the world, and that's with organisations like MSF in Jordan and Syria, or it's in Beirut with the landmine victims, a charity called One Family in the Asian community, in Turkey and Syria. I think those are the real times of power, when you're in front of young people or people with families, and you're able to provide them with the tools to get through the day and to plan for their future, and have that hope, honest, and then provide them with the tools for them to enrich their life. I've had lots of kind of times when I've come away and gone, that was like mind-blowing. And because I've got a visible disability, I can have that empathetic conversation with those people that have challenges in their life, not just amputees or not just people with disabilities. I feel that you need to be relatable, but also you need to show that with strength becomes opportunity, but you need to have a strong team around you, and whether that's people, whether that's communication, or whether that's an opportunity. I've been lucky enough to have all those, and I know all over the world there's a lot of people that doesn't. So it's about us that have got that platform to take that responsibility seriously and provide other people with the hope that they need.
I'm interested to hear the Olympic journey.
Yeah, Olympics and Paralympics are interesting. I think it's a vocal point, isn't it? It's a platform. Like anything in life, it's whether you're on TV, on a game show, whether you're in a place of power, it gives you that platform and an audience to get those kind of messages out there, talk about your core values and who you are. Some people use that in a positive way, some people play up to that platform and become a different character in life. For me, it's always been an opportunity to show people who I really am, and that I'm just a normal guy from Nottingham that enjoys what I do, but also feels that there's areas to improve. I'm in my 40s now, and I still feel there's lots of different areas of the community that I want to connect with that I've not maybe connected to with before. And with that connection, that you're able to support a wider audience. The Paralympics, my first Paralympics was actually a Winter Games. I played ice sledge hockey in 2004 in Turin, but I always wanted to obviously go to Summer Games and run. 2005 was the announcement for the London Games. I was marathon running at the time. There wasn't a marathon event in the Paralympic programme. I had to change from running 26.2 miles all the way down to 200 metres. And again, the kind of those conversations you have with yourself is, do I really want this? Do I need this? What does that mean to go to the Paralympics? My coach at the time saw the Paralympics as a great opportunity to speak openly about some of the challenges for those people with disabilities, and also to enrich my life in a wider respect. So yeah, from 2005 all the way to 2012, it was hard graft, getting to know what the Olympic kind of movement stands for, Olympic Paralympic movement, and then to plot how I was going to, one, make that team, and then what success looked like. And again, when I talk to general members of the public that have seen me race at the Paralympics, they said, oh, it's great to win that Paralympic gold medal. That was obviously a really successful games. Success before that was just getting on that plane to go. To be at that games, to have that tracksuit was a great honour. 80,000 people watched my event on the 1st of September in 2012. And to have family and friends there that had been through all the challenges and obstacles that I had. Mum and dad, just people that had supported me in my home city as well as in the UK, and people travelled all over the world to come and see me race. It was great to be successful and then kind of cross that finish line, give them the kind of gun salute. And that was more about defiance and celebration of who you can be in life. And success definitely isn't about a world record that I earned that day. It was that I had an opportunity to shine, and I took it with both hands.
Oh, I love that. So I was going to go on to sort of the gold medal, getting the gold medal. But so for you, the success was just being there in the first place.
Yeah, 100%. And I hear a lot about gold medals as success. And the one thing, working in education, working as a sports development officer, I get to speak to a lot of young people. And if you're promoting gold medals as the only point of success, there's only one winner. What the rest of, whether it's the other 7 or the other 700, what are they? Are they losers? Success needs to be personal. It needs to be about every person having their own success. And if my only success was my gold medals, I feel that I'd have wasted my career. The gold medals that I have, I actively share them with my community. And little chunks of those are the team around me that have provided me with their time and their effort into that performance. And it is, that's what I have. I have lots of different performances and memories that create those opportunities. I've been lucky enough that I'm very good at what I do, and then you see my success. But I always celebrate the athletes that have run with me, as well as those other stories that you hear within sport. Don't be defined by a gold medal, don't be defined by a medal. Be defined by who you are and what you could become.
I mean, so somebody who's born into a billionaire family and becomes a billionaire, that's less successful than somebody who's pulled themselves off the streets, who may be homeless, drunk, alcoholic, and now managing some shop. That's success. It's that journey. And in the gym earlier, we were speaking about with your foundation and trying to take people who never ran before and just get them, or never walked before, and getting them walking and stuff. Is there stories for you that stick out that you've seen that really mock success for yourself that you've seen?
Yeah, hundreds and hundreds of stories. In 2012, I won obviously gold in London, and one of the real reasons why I wanted to go to London 2012 is because I wanted to do a challenge such as Terry Fox. And so in 2013, with the help of sponsors, I then ran from Land's End to John O'Groats, so 40 marathons in 40 days. And that was really the reason why I wanted to go to London 2012. So it was never about a gold medal, never about kind of setting the world alight in sport. It was around having that kind of opportunity to leave my legacy on the UK. And through that journey, I became patron of Sarcoma UK, the charity that obviously supported Simon, my friend, and supports so many other sarcoma sufferers. So one of the charities that would benefit from my run was Sarcoma UK, and also another charity, Scope, which supports people with disabilities. But that challenge raised a lot of money, but also awareness for people with disabilities. And I actually met a young girl. It wasn't planned. She just, her and her family heard about me running. She was a young girl, Marina, a double arm, double leg amputee that had never had any running prosthetics at all. A very active young girl. I remember I was stopped on a break at the side of a road, and her parents drove up and then introduced me. We chatted, and it was really refreshing to get a young person's kind of perspective on what being an amputee is like, and kind of I wanted to at that point have an influence on her future. So at that point I said I needed to take some action. So we provided her with running prosthetics, and she now plays like touch rugby. She's a lot more active in the school. Her mum's now actively involved in my foundation. So it just shows that there's lots of outside kind of impacts that you can have through doing something positive and being kind. Kindness is something that a lot of people don't understand how much of impact you can have with being kind, and also how much that kind of influences yourself. You feel better when you do something for somebody else, whether it's buy them a coffee or hold the door open or just give somebody the time of the day. And I was lucky at that one point, I could kind of give this young person a great platform for hopefully to enrich not just herself and her community, how important it is to be a disabled person and to have a successful childhood. I saw parts of her that may be challenges that I had when I was younger as well, being a disabled person.
I mean, for us again, is like it's about that inspire change, and it's like that's. I think one of the things we have an issue with at the moment, especially with social media, is that if I'm not helping hundreds of thousands of people or millions of people, then what's the point? And it seems to be that people forget the buying of a coffee, opening a door for somebody, picking up some litter and someone sees you doing it, or bigger gestures like what you've probably had so many experiences in that way. How important is it just to have an impact on one person? I think people think that's it. One person's impact, I can't help anybody else. There's no point to it.
Yeah, it's the personable approach with people is the key. To have that connection and that relationship. And one thing I will say is that just because you've been successful doesn't mean you're a good person. Just because you're a gold medalist doesn't mean you're somebody that you should aspire to be. And role models do let you down. It's about having the skills, having the tools to be a better person, and figuring out who you want to be in life and what kind of impact you have. And it definitely starts with looking at yourself, your family, your community, and having a local impact. And then spreading those messages to a wider audience to affect the community, whatever country you're in, and then relate to different audiences and then not be defined by the stereotypes that people give you. Like, I've got a physical disability. Sometimes I hear from the older community saying, "Oh, you're such an inspiration to like the disabled community," and I'm like going, I don't think I am. I think I've just got a disability. I've got a platform. I use it for whoever. There's people that have got a disability that hate sport, that didn't like 2012, that didn't like the Paralympics. And for me, that was a community that I wanted to reach out to. I wanted to reach out and say, look, the power of sport isn't about participation. It's about helping your physical and mental well-being to be a better person. You don't have to run or win gold medals to be impacted by Paralympic sport. It's really about life stories. My story's still continuing. When I retire from running on the track. I still want to empower other people through other means. I'm just going to change the narrative and put my energy into other areas.
I love it. Just to take it back to something for a soundbite is, what did it take to be a Paralympian? Like, what would the daily work ethic look like? What was you doing on a day-to-day basis?
As a performance athlete, you have to commit to it full time, and you're having to immerse yourself into performance sport. So that would be 35 hours of training, and whether that's training on the track, training on the road, in the gym, work with your soft tissue therapist, physiotherapist, nutritionist. It's about taking it really seriously, and also that's your number one goal, to be a Paralympic athlete. And you've got your dreams and aspirations, and having small targets to having that kind of dream goal in the sky of getting on the team and then being successful. And then making sure that you've got manageable targets on that route, because you start as the next cycle finishes. And the cycle for a Paralympics or Olympics is 4 years, or obviously the last one was 5. And within that cycle, you're going to have challenges like illness, injury, maybe change of coach, maybe change of mindset. But as long as you've got that aspiration of making the team, then you're always going to be a little bit closer to reaching your dream. And I've been lucky enough to have gone to 4 games, and everyone has been very special for different things. And also, I've learned something about myself, athletically and personally, every time I've gone to a Paralympic Games.
Who inspires you?
I would say the cliche answer would be that I've got this like kind of sieve that I use, and then all skills that other people have that I find like really inspiring, like commitment, determination, resilience, empowerment. They're skills that I throw into this sieve, I shake the sieve, and the ones that stick to the side, I kind of then pick them out and then try and be more resilient myself and try and empower more people. And these are skills that I pick up from maybe podcasts or audiobooks or YouTube, or people that I meet, or just general members of public that have got the core values that I want to buy into. I think it is really important that we have role models and mentors and people that we can pick up the phone to and just kind of talk the fat through. But I really think that you need to have your own core values and kind of figure out who you are and be actively communicating that with your audience. And not just talking about it, but also doing it as well.
How do you stay motivated?
Yeah, just get up in the morning, man. To stay motivated is tough, isn't it? It's when you're successful, how do you continue to be successful? I've won 2 Paralympic gold medals. I've 4 times world champion. I've done lots of challenges in my life and overcome stereotypes, and I think it's important that you still have goals and you still have aspirations and you still want to be better. I still see there's a lot of young people out there that need support and need guidance, because the world is a different place than when I was growing up, and the technology is out there to support young people, but I think it's not used in the right way at the moment. And motivation for me is to connect with as many of those young people as possible and give them the opportunity to have their own platform in life. And also I've got a young family, and that motivates me to be the best father that I can be to my young children, and hopefully pass on some of those skills that my parents had given me in my life.
What's given you the most perspective in life? Yeah,
perspective is something that you realise that life's short, isn't it? It's probably going back to my friend Simon again. Like I say, I've been to war-torn conflict. I've ran marathons in places like Kilimanjaro and seen like poverty, and worked with people in organisations in Beirut like Hezbollah, and worked with people in the military that have come back from Afghanistan and Iraq, whether that's in Walter Reed in the States or Headley Court in the UK. But I think when you know that somebody close by you has not got a lot of time left on this world, you realise that that's when you need to have perspective about opportunity and taking those opportunities seriously, and those kind of conversations you have with people might be the last, but also that opportunity might never come around again. And everybody can have those perspectives, because, like I say, life is short, and we're all a ticking clock, right? And we don't know when that clock stops. So that for me is a big life lesson. And then go into other environments all over the world where having a roof over their head and having a full-time job is a rarity, or they've had to fight for it. And having dependents that you have to get up for, and you have to work like 12, 18 hours just to support your young children, has definitely given me kind of perspective that we are very lucky in this country. And we've got so many selfish people that feel that other people should support them, where I feel that everybody should be supporting themselves and other people. Like, whatever your ability or disability, we should all be working towards a common goal of being better. And whether that's actively working in employment, there's a job for everybody, whatever ability, disability, whatever impairment you've got, there's no excuse for not working. And when I mean that, I don't mean employment, I mean just working towards adding value to society, and that's important.
100%. We're talking about the fragility of life, I think sometimes those moments where you have that paradigm shift of shit, life is short. Yeah. It happens with death. It happens with loss. What happens if somebody hasn't been through those moments? How do they have that?
Well, there will be, won't they? That's it. Everybody's going to be affected by cancer. 1 in 2 people are affected by cancer in their life. Everybody's going to be affected by some kind of disability or an impairment. And it's important that you have those tools to be able to withstand that circumstance, and because if not, you'll be self-isolated. You'll be it's a question of how do I equip myself better for the challenges in life. And that's through experience, and that's why when I finished my Paralympics in 2012, and I had so many opportunities to have a charity and an organisation that represented me, I didn't feel that I was ready for that at that time, and I was brave enough to go, actually, I think I need to wait until the right time, and when that time's right, which it was this year, I'd set up an organisation that represented me, that empowered other people and their communities to be better.
So we spoke again at the gym about sort of the last 2 years and the way the situation's been, and that effect it's had on disabled people.
It's been massive.
Yeah, I'd love to just go through it.
Yeah, no. When you're isolated as an individual, you then try to either the coping mechanisms you have, they're either one of those where you kind of try to embrace everything around you, whether that's resources, whether that's objects, and then greed's a big thing, isn't it? Where you kind of go, well, actually, I can't get to the shops, or this is in short supply, I need to buy lots of it. And as people that are able-bodied, then being isolated at home and then hearing the stories where, oh yeah, we've been really resilient. I'm thinking, well, disabled people go through this every day of their lives. Disabled people have challenges to get out of their front door, to get to their car, to get to work, and then have challenges at work. Every time they turn a corner, they have challenges. And the able-bodied community had a little perspective of what it's like to have a disability, to what it's like to be isolated, what it's like to not have those luxuries in their life that some disabled people cannot access. And that's the kind of environment that I want to have an impact on. Those people that do feel isolated in life. Not just people with disabilities, those also through mental health. The world we live in at the moment isn't a great place for people that suffer from mental health or lack of physical well-being. In the disability community, there is 0.5% of teachers or coaches in the community have a disability. So how do you become a teacher in a secondary or primary school when there's nobody that looks like you? These are the things we need to change. We need to actively change that these opportunities are out there and empower young disabled people to go into teaching, because these are role models. We need to have people all through the community that are relative to challenges. And whether it's 10, 11-year-old young people with disabilities that are overcoming the stereotypes, or teachers like promoting what it's like to overcome challenges as young adults. We need these people because at the moment, whatever community initiatives are out there, they're not working. And it's not about throwing money at these initiatives, it's about empowering people.
Some people think, well, I'm not that person. My story or my situation isn't relatable, or it's not going to help anybody. Yeah. And I think there is a massive perspective on that.
Everybody's got a platform, haven't they? Everybody's got a gift and a platform in life, and it's about utilising it in a positive way. And it's not about having that big audience, it's about having that opportunity to enrich other people's lives. And the power of sport gives you that, but also the power of a community does as well, and to be actively in that community. I think sustainability for me, with what I promote and what I talk about, is me empowering young people, and especially those with disabilities in their community, and then getting the communities around that young person to be empowered to the benefits of having young disabled people or people with disabilities in their community. And what I mean by that is a business that hasn't got a person with a disability employed. When they employ somebody with a disability, they're already employing somebody that problem solves. They're already employing somebody that has a perspective about what 14 million people do in the UK. Having empathy around people with disabilities is really important, and that enriches your business. And also around participation, your clubs, your environments become more inclusive. You then reflect that community that's the other side of that window. You're reflecting that by being more inclusive within that environment. And also within education, I feel that within the education environment, it's very prescriptive. So education is very prescriptive, and it relates to the learners that learn in that environment. We need to be more open to those hidden disabilities that we cannot see. And relate to all challenges in society, and having people with disabilities as role models, whether it's teachers, whether it's head boys, whether it's sporting people going into those environments, talking about the power of sport. We need to have more interaction and connection with that community.
I've got some like key words that I wanted to go over, but just the last one is just like, where can people find the stuff for the foundation, and what kind of work are you going to be doing?
So the Richard Whitehead Foundation is something that I'm really passionate about, because there's a hole in the market around young people with disabilities and opportunities in education, employment and participation. So you can find my foundation, the whiteheadfoundation.org, and also through like social media, obviously myself as Marathon Champ on Twitter and on Instagram as well. I feel that we can all do more. We can all provide more communication around the opportunities for people with disabilities and their communities. So we want to share that information. We're not a foundation that is very in-house. We work and collaborate with lots of partnerships with other organisations to make the disability world more inclusive. And our idea is not just to reflect me as a middle-class white guy with no legs. We want to embrace all people with disabilities, as well as obviously support the communities to be more inclusive and diverse. And as I've found, that there's lots of people out there that's still isolated, and if I can enrich their life through the power of sport, all the better.
I love it. Everything's going to be linked down below. Right, these are the last ones.
Okay.
So these are more for sound bites to help with the motivational piece.
Yeah.
I'll just give you a word, not quick fire, just whatever you think comes to mind. Yeah.
Okay.
So first one is strength.
So strength is seen to be a physical aspect. I see it as the power of persuasion and education.
Passion, so as a Paralympian, as a business owner even, passion.
Yeah, I'm a passionate person. That my passion is to spread the word of disability to a wider audience, and everything I do is with the same kind of passion and energy. Energy is a big word in passion, I think. You have to bring that kind of energy to, whether it's running, whether it's presenting, whether it's interpersonal, whether it's one-on-one. Yeah, bringing that energy is really important.
Yeah. It might not apply to you, but when I hear of Olympians and Paralympians, this word kind of comes up quite a bit, and it's obsession.
Yeah, obsession would be for me about kind of drive towards that goal of being successful. So I would say that I have been obsessed with going to the games and being that gold medalist, but then realising that after you have that success, there's got to be something else. It can't just stop there. And then how do you channel that energy into another project? That's quite difficult. So that's why you have a lot of athletes that have obviously mental health issues after success.
Pain.
Yeah, pain. Pain for me would be, so it's your physical, of kind of putting your body through the training, also mentally, the pain of failure, the pain of having to quit, and also the pain of realising that you've committed to something and then it's just not happened, and maybe letting people down.
I was going to go on to that. So then the kind of covered like losing and failing. How would you say about winning? Like, how do you take your wins?
winning for me has always been something kind of an out-of-body experience. So seeing that as from a different perspective as somebody else, you kind of, I remember like running down the home straight and kind of flying from 8 to first, and you kind of see it as a different, you see it as you're actually sitting in the crowd and you're watching your performance. And winning being kind of, it happened so quickly, and then also happens so slowly as well. You kind of time becomes quite slow, and you kind of go, I just want this to finish, I just want to be successful. But then when you reflect on that, you kind of think, oh, it's gone so quickly and time's flown. It's, let's say, nearly 10 years since I won in London, and it just feels like yesterday. But winning for me has always been about kind of sharing that with people, and hopefully people, it makes people smile by not just watching me race, but also kind of enjoying that success as well.
Disability.
Yeah, I think disability is always a kind of a contentious thing, because people say, oh, I don't see the disability, see the ability. But you've got to understand your ability to understand the disability of everybody, and everybody's going to have some kind of obstacles in their life that stops them from doing something, whether that's I'm not great at learning, I'm dyslexic, I'm kind of partially sighted, or I'm scared of heights, and it's about how you challenge those disabilities that we all have, and make them into a positive. And everybody's given a card in life, and it's about how you utilise that card. Disability for me has took various turns, because I would say in younger life I was obviously really supported and empowered by my parents, and then as I was in my teens it was quite tough. Didn't really have a kind of a platform, or didn't really understand what my purpose was. And then through what I've done in the last 10, 20 years, I've really found that sport's given me an opportunity to talk about things more than sport, and hopefully people relate to me as a person, not as a person with a disability.